In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And when you hear the word from God, it will make you God. So Jesus had mentioned the parable and now he is going to explain the parable. So he says, "Hear you therefore the parable of the sower. What does it mean? When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understand it not, then cometh a wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received the seed by the wayside." So it was mentioned that the seed fell at 4 places. The first was on the wayside. So those seeds which fell on the wayside is likened to an individual who hears the word. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom, he who hears the word but understands it not, what it means. Then at that time, even though he has heard it, he comprehends it not too, and then cometh the wicked one and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. So that which was sown, the seed, the wicked one, here stands for the other impulses which he has. The other impulses. Or it also could mean the wicked one, maybe another friend of his, known person, who comes and tells you, "Why are you wasting your time listening to all this? You got nothing better to do? Come, let's go and do something else. More entertaining, more fun-like." So that is that wicked one who draws you away, who takes you away. So he doesn't allow you to take root in your heart what you had heard. So he distracts you and takes you away from the seed. So this is what the first case, wherein it fell on the wayside. But he that receiveth the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy rejoiceth. But in the second case, where the seed fell on stony soil, it's like the person who heareth the word, and anon with joy rejoiceth, with joy receiveth. Oh, he receives it with joy, with understanding he receives it. But since he does not have a proper foundation, yet hath he not root in himself. So, yet hath he not root in himself means he does not have a proper foundation, but dureth for a while, and the teachings remain in his heart for a short time. And since he does not have the roots as the foundation, he swiftly forgets it. So this is the case with the second, this is the situation with the second case where the seeds fell on stony soil, with little earth. So which means that the person does not have a foundation. And what is the foundation of life? Following the commandments of God, the 10 commandments, the 24 commandments of God, plus other rules and injunctions given by God. So when you live by those commandments and injunctions of God and lead a good, honorable life, then you are laying the foundation. So, but this person does not have that foundation. So therefore they remain in him for some time, and then soon after it fades away because the foundation was not there. So this is the second person. Then the third person, type of individual is like into the third situation wherein the seeds fell on soil, but which was surrounded with weeds and other shrubs and plants. So therefore, even though the seeds sprouted, nevertheless the shrubs and the weeds too sprouted and smothered it, and did not allow it to grow and bloom very well. This is likened to a person who receives the good teachings. He hath the second one I have to still, yet he not rooted himself but dureth for a while. So, in the second case, for when tribulations or persecutions arise because of the word, he by and by is offended. That is with respect to the second person. Second type. Then the third type is, as we are mentioning, the seed which falls into thorny ground, but there is a lot of soil there. But along with that thorny bushes also there. And this person is likened to he also that receiveth seed among the thorns and shrubs is he that heareth the word. He hears the word, of course, and the care of, but what has happened is, but the care of this world, he is preoccupied with other matters. Cares of the world does not give him time to reflect and contemplate over the spiritual teachings, which is the seed. The seed is the spiritual teachings which has been imparted to him. So this is often the case with a good majority of people in the world. The cares of the world take their time. They are preoccupied with that. And their thought is also on that. They brood over it. They think over it, worry over it. The cares of the world. So therefore, the care of this world and also the deceitfulness of riches choke the word and the deceitfulness of riches. So he wants to spend more time in acquiring riches and also play with the riches. So he's occupying his time with the pleasures of the world, with the good things of the world, with the pleasurable things of the world. Therefore, he's choked by them. And is not able, the seed is not able to take root, very good root in him. Because the riches do not allow him to get his mind occupied with the teachings. And then at the same time, the cares of the world also smother him, prevent him. So therefore he also becomes unfruitful, the seed. Then the fourth type, wherein the seeds fell onto good earth, and sprouted well, yielding 100% or 80% or 60%. They were indeed very fruitful indeed. But he that receiveth seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, understands it, which also beareth fruit. So he understands it, he lives by it, and therefore it beareth fruit and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60 and some 30. So depending on the person. So in some people it yields good results, a good harvest. In some a little less, in some others even little less. So, but nevertheless it is fruitful, depending on the person. So these are the 4 types of people, individuals that he is referring to, who receive the good word, who receive the good news, who receive the good teachings, and the way it takes its root amongst them is mentioned in this parable allegorically so beautifully. The 4 types of individuals which you find commonly in the world. So therefore he says, and what is the good news? The seed is likened to the good news. What is the good news? The good news about that God is, that you are gods and you are the gods, and the way to God, the way to salvation, all that is the good news. And this is the seed which has been sown in your heart, which gets sown. So in different people it has a different effect. So, and this is what we find in the general world too. So this is the first parable. Then all these subsequent parables are connected with this. There is an ongoing sequence, one following the other. Then another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. So in the second instance, it is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went away. Now, but the good seed was sown. But in the night time, when the men slept, his enemy came and sowed among the wheat, sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. What does this mean? The good seed is the good knowledge which has been imparted to you, the good teachings. So, now, while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Not that there was an enemy outside, but now what is the field here? The field is your mind and your heart. So in your mind field, the good teachings receive their root, receive their teachings. It was sown there in your mind, in the mind. So in the mind, the good teachings were imparted, and those were the seeds which are sown in the field of the mind. Now in the very same mind itself, there are latent old impulses, right, which are lying dormant, in his own mind. So they are the tares which also equally come up. So the good teachings, and also the other impulses, other human impulses, and the other types of teachings, all the others which are lying in your mind, they also automatically have their effect. They also come out. So these, and they come and choke this. They come and choke this. But at the same time, both of them sprout. Both of them sprout in the mind. The old impulses are there, and the new teachings have come into it. Both of them take root in your mind, and both of them begin to flourish. So now, then what happens? But when the blade was sprung up, and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. Then, after some time, the good seeds also sprouted, and also the bad seeds, the bad seeds which soaked in the form of tares, they also in due course sprung up and were sprouting. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in the field? From whence then hath these tares come? From where has these tares come? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. Perhaps an enemy may have done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? So will you give us the order that we go and gather those tares up? But he said, No, don't do that. Lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Because if you remove the tares, of course along with it the roots of the good trees also will come out. So therefore don't do that. Don't do that. Let both grow together. Let both grow together until the harvest. Until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, gather you together the tares. First you gather the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them. So gather them gather them together, bind them in bundles to burn them. But gather the wheat in my barn. But the wheat, gather them separately and take it to my barn. Now what does all this mean? That when the good teachings are given to you and sown into your mind, good teachings are sown into your mind, then they also take their effect and begin to sprout out. The good teachings have their corresponding effect. But at the same time, the old negativities, shall we put it that way? The negativities which are within you, lying dormant in the subconscious of your mind, they also equally gather momentum. As you keep on living, they are also lying there dormant, and they also gather their momentum. So side by side, you have on one side the good seed, which is also growing and flowering within you, and you also find the negativities which are dormant in the mind of a person also lying there. So both of these are there. Then at the time of harvest, what is the time of harvest?
Judgment.
No. The time of harvest is a time when you are ready for enlightenment. At the time just before enlightenment, that's the time of the harvest. Enlightenment.
Is it time of the harvest?
Yes.
Time of the harvest.
Yes.
So at the time of getting enlightened, so that is the harvest time. So at that time, just about that time, then what happens is, it's an expression, that gather the tires together and keep it separately and bind them into bundles to burn them. Right? So at the time of enlightenment, the negativities which are present within an individual, they are burnt. They are burnt by the fire of knowledge, by the fire of wisdom knowledge. They get burnt. So that is all mentioned, that let the reapers come. It's in a story, nice sweet story form, that the reapers will come and gather them, and then thereafter they will burn them. But here what happens is, when the knowledge in you reaches its acme or saturation point, then at that time the fire of this knowledge also consumes and burns away the negativities which are there within you. And then only, so gather them in the barn means only the good thought, the good impulses, the good impressions which had sprouted in the form of the awareness, I am that I am. This awareness is the seed which is sown into you. This awareness, this knowledge was sown into you. And now in due course, over a period of time, this seed which was sown now grows and blossoms and consumes your mind. So while it is consuming your mind, that tares which were there, it removes it, clears it, and destroys it. That's what it means. So all the negativities, tares means all the negativities, the negative impulses, they all get cleared out of your system. Then you get cleared and pure. And also thereby burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So thus, this was the example, parable that he gave with regard to what will happen to a person. So don't worry about the negativities for the time being which are present, but go on cultivating and maintaining the good seed, the awareness of the good seed. The good seed is this knowledge that I am, that divine I am. So allow this consciousness, allow this awareness to grow and flower in your person, in your mind. And as it grows and flowers, it automatically overcomes the negativities and clears and burns them away. That's what happens. Then your whole mind is consumed by this I am awareness, I am that awareness. And then this at the time of harvest means just at the time of enlightenment, that's the time of harvest. You get enlightened to your divine nature. Then another parable put he forth unto them, saying. So here he is now bringing what this seed is. In the third parable, more precisely, he is mentioning it. The kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field. Which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. So the kingdom of heaven, that is, kingdom of heaven is your God state, your godly state of being. That is the kingdom of heaven. Is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field. The field is his mind, is his mind, M-I-N-D, mind field. And this seed, in due course, as you entertain this, as a person nourishes it. How does it nourish it? By maintaining, just as much as any seed, it is nourished by watering it, fertilizing it. So also this man nourishes this seed in his mind field. And how does a person nourish this? By maintaining this spark, the God awareness. So this person has been sparked. That is the seed. The seed is that which is like a person being sparked with God awareness. So you are sparked with this God awareness, and then this spark, you keep the spark going and make it into a roaring flame. This spark of God awareness, and as it, like a roaring flame, it will now grow and blossom and become like a tree, which indeed is the least of all the seeds, is the smallest of all the seeds, the mustard seed, so tiny, so small, but it is a very precious herb. But when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs. It's one of the finest herbs which is used for cooking. So this herb, which is so tiny, now groweth into a nice big tree. And is becometh a tree. It blossoms. So also this seed which has been put into you, into your consciousness, now grows. And like a tree, it consumes your entire consciousness. Consumes your entire consciousness, fills it up. Becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. So that it becomes a tree, a big tree, like a tree. So that the birds of the air also come and lodge in the branches thereof. That means this consciousness not only it fills your entire, this seed, the seed of knowledge, or the spark of knowledge that I am, this God awareness, it not only consumes your entire, fills your entire mind, but this God awareness goes and fills up the outer kingdom of God, which is planet Earth. It goes and covers it. So this consciousness also pervades and permeates the entire cosmos. So it is not only filling up your own consciousness, while doing so, it also goes and fills up. So you are seeing God everywhere. You are seeing God everywhere. That means the God consciousness has permeated and pervaded the entire cosmos. It has also pervaded the whole of the entire cosmos, and it has also pervaded your entire consciousness, this God awareness. So that's what he means here, wherein the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches. So the things on the outside world all contained within this. All the things, articles and everything, particles in the whole universe is all contained in this consciousness. So it means that it consumes the whole world, this consciousness. So when you experience it here and flower it and nurture this seed with this God awareness, or I am that awareness, it fills your consciousness. And at the same time, this consciousness goes and pervades and permeates your surroundings all over the cosmos. So, when you experience your godly state within, this is a harvest, at the harvest time. So at that time, it is simultaneously experienced here and then outside too, in the outer world too, all over. So this is the third parable. So in this parable, the seed which has been given to you is the spark of God awareness. The spark of God awareness, that's the seed. And that was the seed which was sown by the sower in the field. Which seed was sown in 4 types of fields? 4 types of field. The first parable indicated that this initial spark of God awareness was sparked or sown in 4 types of individuals, and the effect it had on each one of them is indicated. And then in the second parable, it mentions that the seed which had been sown in the 4th type of individual now grows, but at the same time, it sprouts, but at the same time, his latent impulses and negativities which are there, they also tend to sprout and come up, these two. But at the time of harvest, the tares, the negativities which are there, at the time of harvest, which is the time of enlightenment, at that time, automatically, with the fire of knowledge, they will get consumed. So only your entire consciousness remains filled with God consciousness, and all the negativities and negative impulses and other thoughts and patterns, they have all got cleared away. Then, the third parable tells you what the seed is. That is the spark of God awareness, which was sown earlier. Then, yet another parable he is saying. Another parable spoke he unto them. The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal till the whole was leavened. So what it means here is that when you want to bake a bread, into the dough of the wheat, you insert an yeast. You insert an yeast and then knead the bread with the yeast. Knead the flour with the yeast, and then what happens is the yeast which has been put in there, when you leave it for some time, then that yeast goes and the whole dough gets covered with that. The whole dough, it goes and pervades and permeates every pore of that dough. So this is what women do when they may want to make bread or bake bread. So what it means here is, this yeast is like the seed, which is the seed of knowledge, which was imparted unto thee. And this knowledge, the seed of knowledge that I am, this God awareness, gradually goes and fills up the entire cosmos. So the kingdom of heaven is like unto a leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, until the whole was leavened, until the whole thing. So this is what he's comparing it to that. It's a comparison. So by which it is clear that this pervades and percolates into the entire physical universe. So thus, this is how the spark of God awareness goes and encompasses the entire universe. So the field outside and the mind field inside gets saturated with this initial spark of God awareness which a person entertains. All these things spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spake he not unto them. So all these things, all these great truths, and many others too, which are not mentioned here because that is what he indicates. All these parables and many others too, spake Jesus unto the multitude in parables, and without a parable spake he not unto them. So always, whenever he spoke to the multitudes, he gave a parable and explained it with the parable, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. So thus, one of the prophets had earlier mentioned that I will open my mouth in parables, I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. So I will open out the secrets which were there, the secrets of existence, and reveal those secrets in the form of parables. So therefore, in the teaching of the parables, the way to God is very ingeniously mentioned there. With all these parables, it becomes clear. And when Jesus realized that he had given the necessary parables, he said, it's finished. My mission is accomplished. My mission is accomplished. My mission is to give you the teachings. That teachings which are given to you via the parables, in the form of the parables, is accomplished. So he gave these teachings via the parables and via the truth statements. So in both of these. So that is, thus it was said. It was prophesied by a prophet saying, I will open my mouth in parables. And I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world. So there are no secrets. All the secrets of salvation have been opened out. Have been opened out, are getting opened out. Thereafter, Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. So his disciples have not, they themselves have not understood the parable of the tares. That's a little mystical. The parable of the tares. So they asked him to explain that. Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. In the parable of the tares, wherein in a man's garden, it was good seeds were sown, and the person who sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. And what was that seed? The field is the world. The field is the world. So there are two fields. The one is the outside field. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom. So the good seed are the children of the kingdom. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. So here the good seed are the children of the kingdom means that the good seed which has been sown are the good teachings given to the good people. Good teachings given to the good people. But the tares are the children of the wicked ones. But the tares which had also grown up in the field are the children of the wicked one. So they are the tares which sprouted due to your man's devilish nature. Man's devilish nature, which is also lying there latent within man. Within man there is a devil or a devilish nature which is also operating. Not that there is a devil there, but there is a devilish nature. And there is a good nature. In every person you have this. The only difference is in some one is more, in some others the other is more. So the children of the good are those who have got a good nature and a good disposition. And the ones who have got a devilish disposition, they are also lurking there. So they are the children of the devilish disposition. So both of them sprout and grow. But the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. So the devil means the devil in you. The devil in you made them manifest because it is there. The harvest. Now that's something wonderful. He is telling you what the harvest is. As we had just indicated just below, the harvest is the end of the world. Harvest is the end of the world. Oh, wonderful. The end of the world. That is the harvest. Now, do you know, at the time of enlightenment, the end of the world will transpire. Will transpire first. The end of the world. So, the harvest is the end of the world. Everyone is waiting. So people ask, when will the end of the world take place? They all ask, when will it take place? So they are all frightened that something calamitous may happen and may cause the end of the world. Will there be an end of the world? But here, the end of the world is the end of the world will transpire in your own mind. In your own mind, the end of the world will transpire. The world will disappear into your own mind. The outside world, the entire universe, the entire cosmos will disappear into your mind like an ice cream cone. You know an ice cream cone? And like an ice cream cone, the whole world will enter into a cone and disappear, come into your mind and disappear into your mind. The whole world. Like a funnel. You know, a funnel has got a big opening, and at the end of it, you have a small nozzle. So like a funnel, or like an ice cream cone, which is familiar to everyone. A big ice cream cone, like that the whole universe was collapsed. Via that process, via the little cone, and enter into you, into your mind, and disappear. The whole world will disappear. When that happens, of course, when the end of the world takes place, you are part of the world too. You are also part of the world. So you too will also disappear. So the world has gone, you have gone, you have disappeared, but you are there. You are there, you exist. That is, yes, you have to exist. You are there. The world has gone and you are part of the world. You don't know where it has disappeared. It has disappeared into you. So this is where the end of the world will take place. Within yourself, in your own mind, it will take place. The end of the world, that is where the end of the world will have to take place. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. The reapers, it is figuratively mentioned, the reapers, you know. As therefore the tares are gathered and burnt in the fire, burnt in the fire of knowledge, it will get burnt, all the negativities. So it shall be in the end of this world. So it shall be in the end of the world. So at that time, all the negativities which are there within you get burnt away. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity. Then at the same time, the Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom. So what about the others? The mischievous ones, the evildoers. Of course, as far as you are concerned, as far as you, the individual, is concerned, the world's end takes place individually for each person. Individually for each person. Then for the others, the world will continue. But for this person, salvation or enlightenment has transpired. Then the Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend him and which do iniquity. Of course, the others, the wrongdoers, the evildoers, the wicked ones, will be collected separately, and they'll be put in their proper place. And then that place is, they shall be taken to heaven, and hell, they shall be taken to hell, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. They'll be put into a furnace of fire, and they'll be burnt and baked, and baked and roasted, for all the roastings which they had given all the other people in the world. They shall be wailing, there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth, and these people will experience the roasting which they will undergo in heaven, consciously, and they'll be gnashing of wailing and gnashing of teeth. So this is to indicate, because this too is part of the human lesson, that for the wicked doers, there are two types of people. One is a wicked doer. The other is the one who transgresses some of the commandments. That's another thing. That's a different issue. But the wicked doers, for them the punishment is really terrible. Those who do heinous murders, crimes, for them, that is what it is with respect to those people that he's talking about. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Then shall the righteous, the good, shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father, like a sun, S-U-N, sun. In the kingdom of their Father means they will shine, or they will exist in the glory of their own existence. Each one of them will exist in the glory of their God beingness. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Whoever who has ears to hear, let him hear these teachings. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a treasure hid in the field. Another parable he is giving. The which when the man hath found, he found. So when a treasure is hid in a field, and the man finds that treasure, then he hideth that treasure, and then for joy thereof goeth and selleth all that he had, and buyeth that field. So he sells everything he has in order to buy the treasure in the field. He gives up everything else. He sells away everything else. So that is to say, this parable is indicating to you. And what is this treasure? This treasure is your God beingness, which you discover. Where do you discover it? Within your own mind. Within your own mind. So your mind is the field. Your mind is the field wherein he discovers the presence of this treasure. He discovers the presence of this treasure which lieth in your mind field. M-I-N-D, mind. In the field of your mind, it is there. The treasure is there. So therefore, where is the kingdom of heaven to be experienced? It is there in your mind. It's a mind field. Huh? Because that is the only tool you have. Only weapon tool. Then what does this person do? He goes and sells everything, all the other possessions he has, in order to take charge of this treasure. So that means everything else that he has, all the other belongings which he has, he gives up. He sells it, disposes. He disposes. Formerly he was possessing all the other things. Now he disposes them. All buried. So what are those? He disposes his desires, his worldly aspirations, his worldly ambitions, his worldly interest. He disposes all of them so that he can take possession of this treasure. So both can't remain in the same field, in the mind. So therefore you are going to dispose all those things which were and clear them out. So that is what he does. Again, another parable. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a merchant man seeking goodly pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. So once again, the kingdom of heaven is likened to a man who has discovered a very precious pearl called the Kohinoor, one of the precious diamonds in the world. And he goes and disposes all the other little pearls that he had. Little pearls. And dispose them so that he can obtain this one pearl, the supreme pearl. So this is another parable by which he is explaining that you are that pearl itself. Every one of you is that pearl, that precious pearl. And all your little impulses, human impulses, passions, desires, are those little things. Dispose them off. Get rid of them, clear them out, so that you can possess this wonderful pearl, which you are. You are the pearl. Then the third example, the third parable with respect to this. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So the third parable is that the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a net. So when fishermen go fishing, they go and cast their net, and into that net all types of fishes and other sea creatures and get caught in it. So what he does is, in order to get the best fish out of that, he throws away all the other small ones. So that big fish or the fish which he has caught is what he wants. So in order to get that, he disposes and discards all the others indeed. But cast the bad away. Which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So it is also like an example in which, another way of putting this third example is that when the net was full of fish and all types of sea creatures, came to show, and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, the good ones into vessels, but cast the bad away. That is to say, this is put across in another way. The good are the good virtues which a man gathers in his life, and the bad are the negativities which he throws away. So only when you are possessed of the good virtues will you be in a position to, when you are full of virtues, will you become eligible. When you are a man of virtue who has gathered all the virtues, and each one of these virtues is like a pearl, So you gather these virtues, and these virtues will help you to get to the state of salvation. Will be a factor. So a man must be full of virtue, and a person can be full of virtue only when he has acquired virtue. Virtue means love, compassion, kindness, goodness, nobility, straightforwardness, always speaking the truth, non-deception, non-stealing. These are the virtues, wherein a person does not steal, deceive, dishonor others. So these are the virtues which a man acquires and cultivates, wherein he cultivates the positive virtues and clears away the negativities, like telling lies, dishonoring people. All those negativities he clears out of his system. So thus by that he becomes so virtuous. He is full of virtue, becomes a virtuous person. So shall it be at the end of the world. So thus, at the time of the end of the world, a man is full of virtue. The angel shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just. So it is just mentioned that the angels will come and clear away the wicked, and keep the just, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. And cast them into the furnace of fire. So the unjust people who are also found in the world, there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then Jesus saith unto them, have you understood all these things? They say unto him, yes, Lord, we have understood them. We have understood these teachings which thou hast given us. Om Tat Sat.